All right, so today I have Chris Baryla on the line with me. And Chris is from Texas, El Paso, Texas. Currently resides in Texas and also Canadian. Chris won the 2009 Nationwide Tours Chattanooga Classic, and that 2009 year was a special one for Chris, having finished 8th in the Canadian Open as well. And by virtue of his play on the Nationwide Tour, earned his 2010 PGA Tour card, and also played PGA Tour in 2011. Welcome to the call today, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. Good to talk to you.
Yeah. So as some of our listeners know, we talk about the mental strategies of the most successful tour players, and just want to get right into it here. I know you're not much for setting elaborate goals and tracking a long list of stats. You're more interested in staying within your day-to-day goals. Can you elaborate on those day-to-day goals for us?
Yeah, certainly. In terms of goal setting, I'm not one for really setting a performance or result goal, whether it be golf or whether it be really anything else. I'm much more focused on kind of setting goals that apply to day-to-day activities and day-to-day work and the process of trying to be better at whatever I'm doing. I find that in that it's a little bit easier to kind of rationalize the results of each day and whether or not you achieve the goals that you set. Whereas if you set a performance or result goal at the end of a golf tournament, it's a little bit hard to really determine whether it was you and your activities that reached the outcome or whether it was outside circumstances.
Okay. So do you actively track your progress in keeping those daily objectives when it's kind of daily? Is that something you monitor, each day as to how you work towards those?
Yeah. In terms of my goal for each day might be to improve or work on a certain aspect of golf, short game, iron play, and setting a goal for practice or for level of input. My goal for a day specifically might be to implement a new pitching or chipping drill. Spend 3 hours doing that to recruit someone who can help me develop that particular drill. In my case, that's Sean Foley, my swing coach, or Kevin Weeks, my short game coach. So we'll have a goal to improve, obviously, but it's through a level of practice and diligence rather than setting the goal to be in the top 10 and scrambling over the next 3 months, which is very difficult to actually quantify in terms of whether or not I've really succeeded or have other aspects of the game
Okay.
Kind of interfere with that.
So they're very much objective goals by the sounds of it, if it's to work on a specific drill and whatnot. Is that fair to say?
Right. I try and keep it very, very objective so in my opinion, it's a lot easier to rationalize whether or not you've been successful when you have a very concrete, measurable goal that doesn't include any kind of outside force.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess from a mental perspective, how do you measure your mental success in it, day to day?
Right. Well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's really not any different in my mind than a golf skill or anything like that. Whereas, mentally, I'll work with my mental advisor. We'll call him Paul Doolin, and we'll kind of come up with a plan for something that I'm working on, whether it be, using my physiology better to control where my mind goes or the speed at which my mind's processing, what it's processing, what I'm allowing in and out. We'll have, like any golf skill, specific drill.
Yeah, okay. So, I know you do work with Paul in Toronto, and You mentioned a couple of things there. Is there other things that you kind of work on mentally to optimize your mental productivity?
Yeah, I mean, the human mind is a strange thing. So day to day, things certainly change. But we're working a lot on trying to use the body and the things you can control externally to allow the mind to do what it needs to do. There's things like breathing and posture and outlook and language that you use with yourself in order to facilitate good mental state of being.
Okay. So, I don't want to, I'm going to ask you later on about pre-shot routine, but would breathing become a part of that then, or is that part of, prior to that in different areas of the golf course?
Breathing specifically for me is a 24/7 conscious activity of trying to use my breath, my oxygen intake and exhalation as efficiently as possible and in a way that allows my body and mind to maintain a level state as best as possible.
Okay. All right. Apart from, Paul and having a mental coach, how do you learn about golf psychology?
In terms of learning about golf psychology, I've certainly read some of the publications that people might be more familiar with. But I try to approach the psychology of competition from a little bit of an outside perspective, not boxing it in within golf, trying to keep it a little bit more of a life-oriented thing.
Okay. What do you consider to be the optimum emotional state for top performance, and why?
For me, it's mostly about keeping extreme emotions out of play, whether that be a big low, whether that be a depressed state, or whether that be a state of elation or euphoria. I don't think either of those are particularly helpful when it comes to optimizing performance. On the golf course, kind of an emotionally neutral state being for me is ideal.
Okay, and I guess the fluctuations, if we can call them that, would sort of have a negative influence then on your performance if you were to get outside of that neutral zone?
Right. I mean, in a small sample size, they may or may not have a positive or negative effect. I've been angry or depressed or infuriated at a particular event and still come out of that hitting quality golf shots or making quality scores. But I've been euphoric over an eagle or something like that and come out of that hitting bad golf shots.
Sure.
So it can happen either way, but I think over a period of time, over a large sample, over a career, you're going to have better, more consistent, and more predictable results if you can kind of keep yourself somewhere in the middle emotionally.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to get into a little bit to talking about your nationwide win, and can you take us through the emotional state that you experienced the week prior to your nationwide win and how it influenced your success there a little bit?
Right, absolutely. We discussed this a little bit personally. The week before, I've been playing very consistently throughout the whole year. Nationwide tour, PGA tour, wherever I teed it up. And had a lot of good results. And then actually the week before, I missed the cut in California by a stroke. Which was actually the first missed cut of the year. It was a little disappointing or whatnot. But I went home and back to El Paso, and I'm pretty heavily involved with the university and the athletic program there. And the football team ended up having a big game for the regular season conference title against Houston. And we're down field right into the game, and it was a fantastic football game. A lot of excitement, a lot of energy, a lot of positivity, about 50,000 fans around and whatnot. And the Miners ended up pulling out a close win, and that was just a nice positive influence on me in terms of the energy around and the way that the people reacted. And I just don't think that ever hurts to have that sort of influence, whether you're personally involved or not.
Yeah, okay. And you had mentioned too, I know you had been in the playoff prior, and you had been playing very well that year, including on the PGA Tour. You were already kind of proving yourself to be comfortable and capable out there. Do you believe your mindset of expectations were different that week that you had your nationwide win? And was there an influence on that game that you saw?
Well, I'm not sure expectations were any different. I certainly felt comfortable. I played well, as you said, most of the year, and I've been in that position before. I lost playoff, and had opportunity to win, so I was comfortable in the situation. I think going into it, it was just a matter of I knew I was playing well enough, certainly. And then a little bit of positivity pulled over from football game experience back home, having the weekend to spend with my wife helps. And we went out and played very well. And being in that position of win isn't so much a matter of, who knows what tips the scale in a situation like that. I mean, obviously there's weeks where guys play great, they win by 5 or 10 strokes.
Sure. How do you define confidence?
Confidence. I would say for me, confidence is probably being able to view the situation that you're in. People talk about putting a positive light on things, positive. I don't really feel like that's necessarily helpful. I feel like if you're able to view something from a rational, clear point of view, confidence is knowing that you've put in the particular work necessary, that you have the skill set necessary, or that you have experience in this situation. I think that's where confidence comes from, is that you feel as though you are as prepared as you can be.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think it's very easy to fake confidence, but certainly you can build it through your experience. And as you had mentioned previously, I think with your strong finishes and just where you were playing in 2009, it just sort of gives you that feeling of comfort. Maybe comfort is part of confidence, and just knowing that you belong where you are. What is your experience with neuro-linguistic programming?
Experience-wise, I'm not particularly, I wouldn't say that I have much experience, but I've, studied a little bit with the ideas of thoughts. I don't necessarily agree with all of the in-depth levels of application. What I do feel is that the way you communicate with yourself, and the way your physiology and the language you use to talk to yourself. I think it's no different than raising a child or whatever. The way you talk to the child, the way you express yourself, definitely shapes how the child perceives you in return.
Sure.
And I don't think it's any different with the human mind, just within oneself. The way you treat yourself, the way you react consciously to certain situations and certain things, will shape the view you have of